You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
It's September 25th, and welcome to Psychedelics Cannabis Educational News here at paceradio.net and 420pace.ca. And welcome back, Cindy. How you doing?
Hey. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing all right. I'm watching my grass grow. You know, my cannabis grass.
It's always a good thing to do.
Yes, it is. Exactly. So how was things out in British Columbia, your courses and all that you did?
British Columbia, it's the same as the rest of Canada, very dry right now, but
yeah.
Beautiful. I was out in a little area called Salt Spring, a tiny little island full of, earth medicine facilitators of different kinds. It was quite neat to be in an area where, like, every time you turn a corner, there's a billboard for small billboard for breath work over here. Come over here and take combo. There's 5-MeO over here. Like, it's
really,
yeah. And I'm kind of looking around going, yeah, I want to live here.
Yeah,
it was absolutely fantastic.
This is a community I would just love to be living in.
It is. And, I've even gone as far as looking up homes. I'm going to set up a video tour of a place that I found that's actually reasonably priced. It may not happen, but it was so beautiful that I felt compelled to see if it was possible to live there.
Yeah, an option for sure. Oh, yeah.
I spent just over 3 weeks altogether on this island. So just over half my time over there. And I did my first 3 levels of a course that I have to go back in November and finish. And that's the breathwork course. And it was phenomenal. And anybody that follows my story knows that I've run off and done a number of different medicines, from iboga to 5-MeO to combo, hape, psilocybin. And I've walked into these medicines and I've always had beautiful trips, for lack of a better word. And I did the breath work, which there's no substances involved. It's all in yourself. It's all in your own body. And I had challenges with a medicine for the first time in my life.
Really?
Massive challenges. I almost left twice. I didn't want to do it. Like, I was facing stuff I didn't want to face. And, it was absolutely, it was hard. So for the first time ever working with any of these earth medicines, I had challenges with the medicine of my breath. And
really? And that was one that's not even, that's not even substance intake. That's, like you said.
Yeah. It's all inner work. It's all breath. You breathe in a certain fashion. You can have a psychedelic experience with this breath. So it still helps the body, the mind, the spirit in the same way that substances would. There's just no substances.
Right.
And so I had challenges. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there. But I stayed and I graduated level 1 and I came back and did level 2 and went back and did level 3. And things became easier as they went along, as I faced the challenges and let myself heal with them.
Yeah.
And then I spent just over a week studying combo, which is a frog medicine. And it's where they burn your skin, like the first couple of layers of skin, and then we put the frog venom on that. It's a detox medicine. It does a wonders on the body, but it also works on the spirit and the mind as well. And for me, I faced my fear and I purged my fear because it's a purgative medicine. And I studied the medicine and I learned how to serve it, and I learned how to serve others, and graduated that course as well.
It's
And,
good.
Yeah.
Good.
And then I got invited to go to a peyote ceremony, so I ran off and took peyote for the first time. It was great.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess tomorrow, when you do the broadcast of the Mushy Moment, people will be able to find out much more about your trip. And
where today is Thursday, it probably won't be till Tuesday, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's days and weeks. What's the matter? Okay. Yeah. So on Tuesday. All right. What do you say? Time to get into the news?
Absolutely.
All right. First story is up.
First story is coming to us from the Intelligencer. Tyendinaga. Police raid illegal cannabis operations. Multiple arrests.
When I saw the announcement, I was quite blown away, surprised.
Yeah.
Because they had never, I wasn't aware of any big raids like this there. And to see this. So they said the police service has announced Tuesday in a joint online statement they were executing warrants relating to illegal cannabis production. It says on Wednesday morning they issued a brief update.
Yesterday, officers recovered stolen property, seized firearms, and halted unlawful diversion of water from the bay. It reads, several individuals have been taken into custody, including 5 who are not members of the community. Police said Wednesday the operation was ongoing. Tuesday's announcement noted there was a significant police presence on the reserve to preserve public safety and apprehend those responsible.
Now, according to the notice, it says that this investigation involves non-Indigenous criminal organizations exploiting Indigenous rights and land, regrettably aided by a limited members of Tyendinaga, and the provincial police investigated the illegal cannabis operations on the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory, have arrested several people, including 5 from outside the reserve, members of the community, they said on Tuesday.
Yeah. The projected profits, estimated in the millions, serve only to benefit those community members and the associated criminal organizations, not our community, the Post continues. The public may encounter restricted areas of containment. Although every effort will be made to secure the affected areas, there is potential for suspects to evade police.
Yeah, they say anybody who sees anybody, just call 911. They also said that they like to thank the community members for their continued patience and understanding as enforcement efforts unfold.
Police said Tyendinaga is not the only community facing this struggle. Other reserves are also plagued by the presence of criminal organizations. In response, many territories have put aside ideological differences, taking action to remove these criminal organizations and those jeopardizing the safety and security of our communities, the original post concludes.
Yeah, and they say that more information will be coming when it becomes available. I was like, what? When I saw the notice online from the police services there, what was going on?
So, it doesn't even say who they raided. How many? How many?
No.
Do we have any inside information?
No, I don't have any inside information whatsoever. And because, like I said, I was surprised when I read it, when I first saw the posting of it. So I haven't got a clue. I assume, as with any large raids, usually there's some type of news that follows up afterwards. If this doesn't end up in the mainstream news, it may end up in some other local news, or because I know that they have some news sources themselves right down in that area, and so something might appear there. So I don't know. Haven't got a clue. Yeah. So, yeah. It was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are a pile of stores on the reserve. Now it mentions production, related to production. So I'm assuming it could be growing cannabis or producing things. It didn't say anything about stores or anything along that line.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know enough of the owners that, like something would have been said if any of them had been raided, I would assume.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
see what happens. I'm sure some information will come out. We'll hear something, I would assume, by next show on Monday. Hopefully something might come out. So, alrighty, from there, we move on to the next story.
Yeah, coming to us from Conexent. Can psychedelics influence the immune system?
When I read that, I went, hey, yeah. When we think of psychedelic drugs, we think of altered states of consciousness, vivid hallucinations, and their controversial role in mental health research. One vein of research, however, is asking a less obvious question: can these compounds also affect the immune system? A recent study published in the British Journal of Pharmacology explores this possibility. Classic psychedelics such as psilocybin, LSD, and mescaline are typically studied for their effects on the brain. They act mainly on serotonin receptors, influencing perception, mood, and cognition. But serotonin isn't confined to the brain. It plays roles throughout the body, including the gut and the immune system. This connection has led scientists to wonder whether psychedelics may influence immune activity.
Systematic exploration of the link between psychedelics and the immune system has been sparse and often overshadowed by the focus on mental health. With a resurgence of interest in psychedelics, however, the authors note that the time has come to revisit the connection. While the detailed cellular and molecular mechanisms underlying the recreational and potential therapeutic actions of psychedelic medicines are far from understood, the ability of psychedelic medicines to reduce mediators of inflammation is beginning to be appreciated. Some experiments show that psychedelic compounds can influence immune cell activity, such as dampening inflammatory signals, but results vary depending on the compound and the conditions. Other studies suggest psychedelics might reduce inflammation in disease such as asthma or sepsis. Still, there are early results and the translational process is long.
In short, psychedelics seem capable of nudging the immune system, but exactly how and in what direction remains uncertain. The pessimistic summary of the data would be that the pharmacology of anti-inflammatory psychedelic medicines is still to be defined definitely, the authors add. One challenge is working out the mechanism. The immune system is complex, involving countless cell types and signaling molecules. Psychedelics primarily target serotonin 2A receptors, which are found on certain immune cells as well as neurons. Through these receptors, the medicines might alter how immune cells respond to stress or injury.
Mm-hmm. Another possibility is that the effects are indirect. Psychedelics can reduce psychological stress and depression, both of which are known to influence inflammation. Many common diseases, from autoimmune disorders to cardiovascular problems, have an inflammatory component, and drugs can tune the immune response without broadly suppressing it are in high demand. Conditions where psychedelics might be worth investigating include autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, chronic inflammatory conditions like asthma, and even cancer, where the immune system plays a double-edged role in both defense and disease progression. However, these remain speculative ideas rather than established applications.
I'm going to add Crohn's to that autoimmune disease. I wonder, see how that would work with that condition as well. It also is worth noting that psychedelics aren't straightforward medicine candidates. Their psychological effects mean they cannot be given casually, and their legal status is tightly restricted in many countries. Any immune-related benefits would need to be carefully balanced against these challenges. With patchy evidence and a field prone to hype, what's needed next is patient methodically investigation to find out whether the hints of immune modulation are real and clinically relevant. The evidence suggests a connection between psychedelics and immunology, but it is fragile and incomplete. What is clear is that the immune system deserves at least a mention in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why we brought it up here. So I saw that.
I've been saying for years. I know this person in New Brunswick who creates a tincture using magic mushrooms, and I've added that tincture to creams that also contain cannabis. So now they've got cannabis and psilocybin, and that'll take swelling down like that.
Good.
Topically.
Good.
So I think we've only really scratched the surface with what psychedelics can do.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah. All righty, here we go. Next story.
Coming to us from Marijuana Moment. Teen cannabis use in Germany has declined following recreational legalization, government study shows.
Yeah, a new study conducted by the German federal health official shows that rates of cannabis use declined among youth after the country legalized adult use cannabis last year, contradicting one or more of the more common prohibitionist arguments against the reform. The Federal Institute of Public Health's Drug Affinity Study, published on Tuesday, examined cannabis use trends in 2025, finding that the rates of the past year cannabis consumptions for youth 12 to 17 dipped from 6.7% to 6.1% since the prior survey in 2023. More regular consumption also decreased from 1.3% to 1.1%.
Yeah, among young adults between the ages of 18 and 25, the study showed a slight uptick in cannabis usage, with past year consumption increasing from 23.3 to 25.6% between 2023 and 2025. Germany's former health minister, Karl Lauterbach, who spearheaded the government's legalization plan, said the results of the research confirm what the goal of legalization was. Through the debate about dangers for children and adolescents, their consumption does not increase, or even decreases, according to a translation.
Nevertheless, the results still need to be confirmed, and bans do not deter young people, he says. The study is based on a survey of 7,000 adolescents and young adults from April to July of this year.
It was April of 2024 when Germany's legalization law took effect, allowing adults to possess and grow certain amounts of cannabis, and social clubs began to open, providing members with legal access to cannabis products. Our data shows that consumption among adolescents has not increased. However, consumption has risen slightly among young adults, particularly among men between 18 and 25 years of age. Johan Nielsen, who is the acting director of the Federal Institute of Public Health, said in a press release, "We must monitor this development very closely."
The lack of evidence that youth use increased post-legalization is consistent with pro-reform arguments. Advocates have long maintained that providing regulatory framework for cannabis would mitigate underage access as more adults transition to the legal market. In the U.S., where cannabis is legal in some form in the majority of the states, but prohibited at the federal level, research has shown similar trends.
For example, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration in July published data that showed youth cannabis consumption has remained stable amid the state legalization movement. The agency also held a webinar in July in which a Johns Hopkins University researcher acknowledged that while self-reported cannabis consumption by adults has risen as more states have legalized, use by youth has generally remained flat or fallen.
Yeah, a report from the advocacy group Marijuana Policy Project, for example, found that youth cannabis use declined in 19 out of 21 states that legalized adult use cannabis, with teen cannabis consumption down an average of 35% in the earliest states to legalize. The report cited data from the series of national and state level youth surveys, including the annual monitoring the Future survey, which is supported by the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Well, I think we've got the headline there covered with as far as the story-wise that yet again, it's proven. Again, just legalize cannabis and you can bring down youth consumption. It happened here in Canada as well.
Yep.
Right. So Germany is seeing the same results. We shouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure that other countries will find the same thing as they go along.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah. All righty. We're going to move on to the last story before we go to break. And the headline is up.
Yeah, coming to us from StratCan. Hamilton, a cannabis retailer, allowed to recall witnesses in termination grievance.
An arbitrator in Ontario recently ruled that the lawyer representing a Hamilton cannabis retailer will be able to recall witnesses in a termination grievance from an employee fired in 2024. The case surrounded an employee at a Canna Cabana store who was fired for failing to report to management that a customer had provided him with psilocybin. The former employee challenged this firing with his union, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Local 175, arguing in a hearing on September the 3rd that the firing was inconsistent with alleged tolerance of similar behavior from an assistant store manager. Ooh.
The employer, Canna Cabana, argued that 10 different statements the union made to the terminated employee, Jesse Piera, and 2 other witnesses unfairly challenged the assistant store manager's credibility without providing the ASM with proper notice of the accusations or the opportunity to respond. Piera was the union steward of the Canna Cabana on Barton Street in Hamilton. Those statements included claims that the assistant store manager herself has used psilocybin and cannabis at work and encouraged others to use cannabis at work as well.
The union disputed these claims, but the arbitrator sided with the employer, ruling that its counsel will have the opportunity to speak to its witnesses and address the contradictory evidence. The decision goes on to say that what is most concerning to me is that the union seeks to introduce videos and pictures that the witness posted on social media to contradict her testimony without allowing her the opportunity to review and respond to the material.
Although the retailer had sought to strike numerous claims from the union's statements, the arbitrator decided to instead provide the employer with an opportunity to interview the witnesses. The hearing will now continue with the amended process in place.
Yeah, so there you go.
Interesting.
That could end. Well, they say they got videos and stuff because otherwise it could be a he said, she said thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Or he said, or however you want to say that saying.
However it is. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that could get ugly. So, all righty. Time for us to move on to break, as we always like to do. We're right back after our joint session. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News here at paceradio.net and 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get Coke by Shay. Daily deals. Check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we're back. We're live, and we got 4 more stories to go. And just so you know, Cindy's back too. Cindy's back as well. All righty, here we go. The next story is up and ready to be announced.
There we go. Coming from the Globe and Mail. Business trip.
Yeah.
Exact.
Yeah.
I lost my mouse.
I think the headline there is executives turn to psychedelic retreats to cope with stress.
There it is. Thank you so much, Al.
You're welcome. It's tiny. It's just up there at the top. Now, they say that Victoria, not a real name, the CEO of a small not-for-profit, arrived at the edge of Ontario Maple Lake in the autumn of 2023 with the intention of getting blitzed out of her mind on cannabis. And joining the Ascend program offered at Dimensions, a luxury wellness retreat about an hour east of Muskoka, Victoria was hoping to shake off some of the small T trauma she had been carrying in her body since childhood. When she says she grew accustomed to tiptoeing around volatile personalities. As an adult, she felt like her nervous system was still clinging to that fear and anxiety, the sense of powerlessness and the lack of safety.
For years, the trauma manifested in chronic back pain and a hyperdrive type A personality. She was stressed all the time and overly reactive with her team. When problems emerged, she felt unable to navigate the conflict with confidence. Victoria hoped that taking cannabis under the care of a psychotherapist as part of a 5-day wellness retreat, plus pre and post care that costs $5,000, might help her let go of the pain of becoming a better, more grounded version of herself. It wasn't just the cannabis that Victoria was drawn to. The cabins at Dimensions offer upscale Scandinavian minimalism with white walls and crisp white sheets alongside blonde wood accents. Guests are quizzed on personal preferences prior to arrival, including bathroom floor temperature and whether they prefer dark or medium locally roasted coffee beans. The views over Maple Lake are indisputably tranquil, with more ducks and dragonflies than sea-doos.
Can you tell me what place has ever asked a person coming to stay how warm they want their bathroom floor?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome. Well, they say that goes on to say that the culinary program is indulgent. While Dimensions does not typically serve dairy, gluten, or refined sugars, they do serve meat. A 4-course dinner might include a bacon and panda roasted cauliflower taco with avocado cream, chicken tostada with charred scallion salsa, and Mexican chocolate pudding topped with cinnamon candied papayas, I guess. Ascend participants are expected to engage in significant prep work before they arrive. There's a process intended to screen out contraindicated psychedelic or psychiatric conditions, plus a biopsychosocial, including meeting over Zoom, where participants are asked to describe their childhood traumas and honestly assess the quality of their adult relationship. They are also solo and group sessions with a psychotherapist.
When they arrive at Dimensions, guests are engaged in a range of treatments, from yoga and Thai massage to nature therapy, Reiki, and Qigong, a traditional Chinese movement meditation practice. The experience culminates in a 3-hour cannabis ceremony where participants sit in a circle in a large geodesic dome and vape cannabis, anywhere from 3 to 10 puffs, while doing breath work and listening to a sound bath of a dozen instruments, including singing crystal bowls, French chimes, and a crystal harp. Wow. Victoria was asked by Dimensions to source her own cannabis, advised of a therapeutic recipe that mixes various strains. Under the guidance of a local Indigenous elder, along with Dimensions clinical director, Donald Curry, Victoria took several hits from a vaporizer and then laid back on a linen-covered futon. A guided meditation encouraged her to be in her body, starting with the feet and then moving up.
When they got to the chest, I felt this intense pain like a sword going through my heart, she says. I was gasping for air. Curry instantly moved to her side, encouraging her to keep breathing through the experience. It was like every heartbreak she had ever had in her life. All the agony and fear and disappointment, most of it tied to her family, was happening simultaneously. The floodgates opened and she found herself sobbing and unable to stop. And then she was free of it. It was like years of crying happened there, and I left feeling so much lighter, she says. She emerged from the experience with a stronger sense of the boundaries she needed to set for herself and clarity surrounding her desire to let go of the past. When Victoria came home, her husband commented on how much better she seemed, how much calmer, but the benefits extended beyond her personal life. Victoria was less strung at work, able to sit with problems rather than panicking, and she found she no longer took things so personally. It accumulated in a greater sense of ease, both for her and her colleagues. She says, I really reflected on how to let go of ego so that I could be a better person to myself and those who knew me.
Wow. Dimensions is just one of several luxury options for stressed out executives and entrepreneurs looking to heal in a world that sometimes seems to be spinning out of control, still recovering from the fog of the pandemic and now grappling with the impact of a U.S. president hellbent on remaking the global order. The vibe is chaotic. It's the end of predictability combined with a sense of impending doom. According to a May survey by the Business Council of Canada, more than 60% of Canadian CEOs expected the economy to weaken in the near term, largely citing global uncertainty. And while present circumstances might be uniquely terrorizing, the problem isn't new. In 2019, a survey by the Canadian Mental Health Association found that 62% of entrepreneurs were depressed, at least once a week. Almost half reported that their mental health issues were interfering with work. In a more recent poll, 31% of managers who have left or are planning to leave their jobs attribute it to mental health issues.
Insights gathered by Homewood Health Center in Guelph, which offers a range of treatment programs for mental health and addiction issues and has been in the operation for 140 years. indicates that high-level executives and entrepreneurs are increasingly presenting with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, imposter syndrome, burnout, and exhaustion from constantly delivering in high-pressure scenarios or environments. They often find themselves at their residence, Homewood's luxury 9-bedroom inpatient option. It says here with less deep pocket clients, meanwhile, might struggle to find a sufficient coordinated mental health supports. Exactly. Because of money, right? So
No, healing this way is not a cheap thing to do, and that's for sure.
No.
We've seen a steady influx of executives, especially over the past 4 or 5 years, says Dr. Ben McCurchin, who is the chief of psychiatry for the residents. I believe there are growing demands on professionals, whether it be related to staffing challenges, the economy, COVID, the multiple effects that professionals are dealing with that impact their well-being. Luxury rehab isn't new or rare. Or more conventional avenues might include psychiatry, psychotherapy, and addictions therapy, which can include a mix of prescription medications, individual or group therapy talk, and lifestyle directives.
Yeah, in addition to Homewoods, the residents, there's a Muskoka recovery detox and rehab service with gourmet meals. The Canadian Center for Addiction, stated manners in Port Hope and Cobourg. Edgewood Health Network's Quant Center in Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia, near the Bay of Fundy. Clinic Les Alpes near Montreal, Switzerland, specifically works with Canadians seeking solace from the strains of everyday life and in need of recovery and renewal in a traditional chateau with sweeping views of the Alps. Sounds nice. Yeah,
but
no, I see. Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead.
See what? No, you go ahead.
I was just say I see it. It is a real long story according to the side that I'm looking at the thing there. But go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I did notice that too. That's why I thought you should go first. But increasingly, illicit, or just recently decriminalized substances are seen not as the problem, but as part of the solution. Conscious altering medicines use has entered the mainstream discourse, whether it's Elon Musk's much discussed ketamine use, or food guru Michael Pollan's Netflix documentary about the benefits of psychedelics, or random TikTok videos about putting microdoses of psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, in your morning coffee to enhance focus and maximize productivity. Whole Foods founder John McKay credits an MDMA psilocybin trip with his graceful exit from the company in 2022, calling each trip a revelation and crediting the medicines with helping heal relationships as he moved on to the next phase of his personal and professional life. He now plans to open a chain of wellness clubs that will one day offer psychedelic therapy, once it's legal, of course. A few years ago, the U.S. National Park Service put out a statement begging people to please stop licking Sonoran desert toads, which secrete a potent hallucinogen known by some as the God molecule, or Bufo, or 5-MeO.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna shut her down there. But we got some examples of some people there. Even I know that he's passed. Matthew Perry, he was doing ketamine, psychedelics in order to deal with wherever he needed to deal with. So there's people there that have used it executive wise, and I completely understand the story of Victoria there. I was production supervisor. I had 65 guys underneath me, and I was good until my bowel blew out. So that's what I always say. All right, but yeah, there's lots of stress. There's no doubt about that. All right, next story is up. Here we go.
Yeah, coming to us from MJ Biz Daily. Wisconsin Republicans want to ban hemp-derived THC products.
Republican lawmakers in Wisconsin, one of the few remaining states with no legal cannabis access, want to ban hemp-derived THC in the state. 5 GOP state legislators last week proposed to close a so-called THC loophole and criminalize popular intoxicating hemp-derived products including THCA flower.
Hemp-derived THC products, including drinks served from the tap at bars and taverns, are proving extremely popular in Wisconsin. Limited medical cannabis laws in the state allow only for CBD oil.
Well, that is limited, isn't it? Wow.
Mm.
That creates a situation very similar to that in Texas, where hemp-derived cannabinoid products are part of an estimated $5.5 billion market. According to lawmakers, it's also allowed dangerous psychoactive THC-laced products to proliferate in Wisconsin.
The lawmakers say they're circulating a common sense of corrective bill that changes state law to ban psychoactive cannabinoids derived from hemp under state law. Bill critics, such as hemp shop owners, say the upshot would be the criminalization of popular products.
Yeah, and it lists the lawmakers here. Lindy Brill, Jim Pawlowski, Chuck Witchgers, Bob Donovan, and Chris Capinga. Yeah. They said in a statement the lawmakers cited a sharp rise in Delta 8 THC poisonings in young children.
Psychoactive substances like hemp can cause long-term damaging effects on the brain that impede cognitive function, the statement added. This can handicap or alter an individual's entire life.
No hearings on the bill are scheduled, according to the legislative tracker, and many states are moving to tighten rules around hemp following the 2018 Farm Bill, which led to the proliferation of intoxicating products nationwide.
Lawmakers in Washington are also pushing language that would recriminalize most hemp-derived products. Despite broad support, efforts to legalize medical cannabis in Wisconsin have repeatedly failed amid Republican opposition.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Hey, thanks for the love there, JJ. Yeah, that's too bad. Patients can only have access to cannabis oil? Like, what, that's just not right.
No.
So, they got a medical cannabis program, but it sure isn't much of a program if that's all that they're allowing. So, and now they're going to take away these hemp products for them. So, good. Yeah. All right. Next story's up. Here we go.
Coming to us from Mugglehead Magazine, Michigan court rules that Ann Arbor Psychedelics Festival must continue.
All right. Way to go, Judge. The University of Michigan's attempt to stop an annual psychedelics festival from taking place on its campus again was futile. Last week, the president of the University Student Association of Psychedelic Studies stood before the Michigan Court of Claims to back a lawsuit brought against the school over its decision to deny a permit. An application for a fifth annual EnthOfest was filed in July and rejected in August.
Ultimately, the court ruled in favor of the association and said the controversial convention must be allowed to continue on First Amendment grounds. EnthOfest is on, says SAP's president, Emily Berryman, and EnthOfest organizers on Instagram, September 18th. Justice is served. Let this set a precedent for free speech on and off the diag. The event has been held annually since the city of Ann Arbor decriminalized psychedelic substances in 2020. It aims to promote the mental and physical health effects of psilocybin mushrooms, cannabis, and psychoactive plants like iboga, ayahuasca, and the San Pedro cactus. Many who consume these entheogens report improved well-being as a result.
Despite this aim, the event had no intention of attracting people aiming to make money from selling magic mushrooms or other products that remain illegal under state law. They say that they can't stop EnthOfest, said one state senator, Jeff Irwin, in a speech at the outdoor event venue on September the 21st.
The Democrat politician explained how he believes entheogenic substances have cultural and religious value for thousands of years. The university can't stop EnthOfest. The cops can't stop EnthOfest, he added. This event is going to continue to go on until we win freedom for ourselves and for our neighbors who want access to plant medicines, not just plant medicines, frogs and fungi, to improve their lives.
A crowd of approximately 100 people were in attendance at the University of Michigan's campus this year, despite less than optimal weather conditions and a short notice that the event had been authorized to proceed. The formally arranged keynote speaker, neurobiologist and convicted LSD chemist William Leonard Picard, was not able to make it because the organizers had to cancel his flight and accommodation weeks prior. There you go.
Yeah.
So they still held the event. It sounds like it was just a little more low key than what it would normally have been. And now they'll be able to promote and advertise next year's event and and come back to normal. Yeah. So
exciting for them.
Right. Yeah. One more story to go on today's show, and it is ready and go.
Coming to us from StratCan. BC cannabis producers, retailers lean into direct delivery following central delivery shutdown.
Cannabis producers and retailers in British Columbia are bracing themselves for the effects of a strike that has closed the province's central delivery warehouse. The newest escalation of the job action, announced on Monday, September the 22nd, was not unexpected. The BC Government Employees Union strike first began on September the 2nd. Many in the cannabis industry expected it to eventually impact the province's central delivery for cannabis and alcohol, similar to a job action that took place in August of 2022. On September the 12th, the strike was also extended to include overtime activities with the LDB.
When I was out there, it was already starting to affect the cannabis stores.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. Because of this, some producers and retailers say they felt better prepared than they did during the 2022 strike. Retailers tell StratCan that they have been placing extra orders in the weeks and even months before to build up extra in-store supply. Some producers say they have been taking steps to increase supply to meet those demands and fine-tuning their own direct delivery platforms, which allow retailers to order directly from some BC smaller producers, bypassing the province's distribution warehouse entirely.
Ron Hoa, the general manager at Canada's Cannabis in Kelowna, tells StratCan that he's been placing larger orders for several weeks now in anticipation of this type of escalation, even before the strike began in September. He says, I kind of welcome the strike because we're prepared. We all knew that this was going to happen, so I've been loading up since July and August.
Additionally, he notes that he has spent the last 3 years refining his store's participation in the province's direct delivery program to ensure a wide array of options for his customers, even if the strike lasts several weeks. I don't think anyone can beat my direct delivery inventory, he says. If someone comes in, they aren't going to leave empty-handed, ever.
BC first launched its direct delivery program in August of 2022, around the same time as the last BCGEU strike. Although the timing was not planned around the strike, direct delivery ultimately served as a lifeline for some producers and retailers, many of whom were caught unprepared. The program has evolved considerably in those 3 years, with a wider array of products available, as well as producers and retailers making improvements on payment programs, ordering platforms, and delivery options. While it's still a small portion of the total cannabis sales in the province, the program's popularity has been growing this year.
Unfortunately, it isn't enough to fulfill all consumer demands, explains Dennis Park of Craft Greenery Cannabis, a retailer in Vancouver. Craft Greenery has increasingly relied on direct delivery in recent years. However, Park notes that the program's structure, which limits participation to cannabis grown within the province by companies cultivating no more than 3,000 kilograms annually, often results in higher prices and more niche craft-style products. While this is beneficial when the central delivery options are available, Park is concerned that during periods of short supply, such as the current strike, retailers may struggle to retain customers if their usual products become unavailable.
We're doing what I think a lot of other independent retailers are doing right now, which is figuring out what we can buy and how to best spread our limited dollars around. Even though we've established these relationships, the problem is that it can be challenging to fill the gaps of Central going down with just direct delivery. All the larger value brands are associated with that supply chain, and while we rely more on direct delivery than most, some retailers rely entirely on central delivery. My concern is how they will weather the storm.
The longer this strike goes on, retailers might have to cut stuff. They might lose some loyal customers. The longer it goes, I see a lot of retailers that are on the edge of not making it. Park also notes that while the direct delivery system has made improvements over the years, it can still be a challenge for smaller producers and retailers. Placing orders and managing deliveries can be a challenge, and payment options within the program are limited.
I think this will really put the system to a test, he adds. Now, Janine Davies, Vice President of Sales at Dealer Cannabis, a BC company that processes and distributes cannabis for an array of small producers, says that they have already placed one of their largest direct delivery days within 24 hours of the strike notice. The company is making another 400 to 500 cases available each day to satisfy that increased demand. On top of that, Davies says her company just sent a large shipment of cannabis to BC Central Warehouse in Richmond on Friday, where it now sits, unable to be returned or distributed to stores.
Our main concern now is that a product is just sitting in a warehouse instead of getting out to customers because of the strike. They can't even, return it to vendors. So now we need to find, more supply to serve our direct customers. Alana Davis, who's the CEO of Dabble Cannabis, an outdoor grower on Vancouver Island, says she sees the current strike as a great opportunity for direct delivery products to shine. Still, she also highlights the fact that the BC LDB still adds the same 15% fee on direct delivery products as it does on those it actually handles through the warehousing and delivery system.
Of course they do. They do that here in Ontario as well.
Same.
I'm not surprised whatsoever. They still want their money. Still want the money even though they're not handling the product. So,
yeah.
All right, Davis goes on to say that the strike makes things challenging, but I know we and other small independent producers are up for the challenge to supply BC with all the cannabis they need. If only the BC government would recognize the additional burden of cost and administration that they placed on the small producers when implementing the 15% priority fee on the direct delivery program. As the threat of a shutdown of the province's cannabis warehouse loomed, Davies explained she had to make tough decisions over the past few weeks to send products to the Central Distribution Center or hold them back for direct delivery.
We had to make the call to reroute inventory, missing sales from Central, to be prepared to act at a moment's notice if they went on strike in the DC. It is certainly the pre-retro. I can't say that word for some reason. Of the BCGEU employees to strike if their employer won't even show up to the negotiations, she adds, when their contract expired months ago.
Phil Campbell, CEO of Herbal Dispatch, a BC-based cannabis producer processor that operates a robust direct delivery platform, says he and his team have been working for weeks now to ensure that they were prepared for potential strike action. These actions, including getting more SKUs approved for direct delivery by the LDB, ordering extra excise stamps, and onboarding new products from the array of BC growers and producers to work with. Although the province doesn't physically handle SKUs sold through the direct delivery, it still requires those products to receive an initial approval before being made available to retailers.
We basically just front-loaded a bunch of listings so that we would have some flexibility with the products we have available, explains Campbell. We also created new communication guidelines with our vendors for issues like shipping delays or payment processing. We have also had extended hours for some shifts, bringing in extra workers to ensure we're prepared as best we can. Another factor he's accounting for is that even once the strike ends, he expects the LDB to take several days to work through a backlog of existing orders and new orders.
Yeah, there are a lot of additional logistics at play, says Campbell. Still, he says he thinks the industry is better positioned now than it was in 2022 and sees an opportunity for more retailers and customers to become familiar with the kinds of products available through direct delivery.
It really strengthens the relationship between the retailer and the DD producers, he explains. It builds a lot of trust and reliability. And I think when customers go into dispensaries, it's a great opportunity for these DD businesses who are by definition smaller producers. So it's going to allow more dispensaries and customers to have more exposure to these products. So I think longer term, even after the strike is over, there will be some residual benefit to those who can manage to maintain supply through the strike. Several other BC cannabis producers have announced the launch of their own direct delivery program in recent weeks, and immediately following the announcement. The length of this specific strike is not known. The last time the BCGEU strike shut down the LDB's cannabis warehouse was in 2022, from August 15th to August 31st. Although following this, it took several weeks for the provincial agency to work through a backlog of orders.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a mess. Yeah, I guess I can see where people are ordering ahead of time and all that, but I could also see that maybe some of that product could be, be sitting in the warehouse waiting to be shipped, as they mentioned that one person, but also the stores are ordering them months ahead of time. That means some of that product could be sitting in the store for months before it is sold.
One thing I did notice when I was out in BC, that I haven't seen yet here in Nova Scotia, and I don't know if they do it in any other province. Like I went into a few of the BC stores, and it's like, hey, I want to buy whatever product. I want something grown here in BC and only sold here in BC. And one thing I noticed is they would pick up all the products, and the first thing they do is go to the expiry date. Oh, that's more than 4 months. I'm not selling you that. And they'd pick up the next one.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, not just in one store, but in 4 or 5 that I was in, and I thought that was amazing. And the big store, it was actually in Kelowna, the first one I noticed it in. It was called Cannabis Corner, and great store, absolutely huge, and yeah, they were very adamant with not selling old product.
Good. I remember it's been a while now, but I can remember one time I went for a Pacific product and found out that it had been 14 months. Yeah.
These folks wouldn't sell anything that's been sitting in their store for over 4 months. So I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's good. Good to know. All right. Anything else before we say goodbye?
I don't think so.
All right. That's our report for today. Thanks to our buds at Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, Limestone City, Hydroponics.ca, and At-Eze.ca. And always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, whether you or listening, if you call our podcast afterwards. And as always, don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, They offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.